Yo! Welcome once again to the We Are Gamers series. My name is your host, Champ Tone, aka Psychosis, a gamer with a passion for Jesus and gaming. Word, Jesus loves you. Today we have the honor and privilege of no stranger to the show, a good buddy of mine that I met him in the streaming space. He was just streaming some games, a real chill guy. The first person I know, officially to win the Stanley Cup. Oh, excuse me, the Stanley Cup of Blades of Glory and the true corporate champion. Let me introduce to you Corporate Gamer. Welcome, Corporate.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I had a great time last time, so it's an honor to be back.
Oh man, yeah. I was like, you know what? I need someone chatty. I need someone that I because that last one we just kept going. It wasn't even like we didn't even have to try. We just kept talking because I could
Well,
talk.
the
I'm a
the
talker.
last
You're a talker. Forget it.
well, you stopped the recording, and we spoke for another hour after, an
I
hour and
know.
a half after. I was like, "Is this recorded?" No. I'm like, "Oh darn, that would have been a great episode." So
I know we might do that. You brought that up earlier too. I was like, you know what? We're gonna finish this recording and then I'll just record the next session. That'll be the bonus. Oh man, well I'm glad you're able to make it back again. Thank you, corporate. So let's just jump right into it.
yeah,
So so I know you've had some personal changes, with your family dynamic in the last few years. But what have you been playing? Like what games have you still been playing?
I don't remember when was the last time we recorded. It was about a year ago
Wow, it was
or two.
over. Yeah, it was
I had my
20.
first. Yeah, so it's been a while. So since
Yes, it
then,
has.
at least recently, the big ones that I've played is Atomic Heart,
Okay.
which is basically it's billed as a Bioshock S type of game. It's kind of a mix between Wolfenstein and Bioshock, in the
Nice.
sense that it's Wolfenstein with an alternative timeline.
Hmm.
So the Russians win the
Uh-oh.
world domination and stuff like that instead
Uh-oh.
of but it has elements of Bioshock, like the storytelling and the recording. Like you find recordings everywhere and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's kind of actually it was Switchy that came to my stream. Like when the first night I was streaming it, it was the one. It's the last game I actually streamed.
Oh wow.
And Switchy came in the first night and he was like, "Yeah, I couldn't do it after 10 hours." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Yeah, I just couldn't." I'm like,
Really?
"Okay,
What was
yeah."
wrong?
And
Like what was it
so
that Go ahead.
yeah, so that's the thing. So I just started the game. I'm like, oh, it's fun, right? Like for now,
Hmm.
it's fun. It's this and that. But it's it's a game on paper. It's weird. It's a game on paper that I should love. Story driven game that's like first person shooter.
Mm.
You're involved in like there's alternate endings and stuff like that. Perfect, right up my wheelhouse. And I should have loved it. The problem is a
Shut
lot
up.
of
Oh no.
but the thing is, it has all those elements like from Bioshock and stuff like that, but he made stuff tedious to do and to like
Oh.
certain missions are
Mm.
tedious to finish. Like they're not
Oh
fun
yeah, that's
at all.
annoying. I know what you
Uh,
mean. Yeah.
so you get to like at some point you're like, this is like I can't play this for longer than an hour.
Damn.
Like you do a mission and it's like,
Mm.
yeah, this makes no sense. It's kind of like there's a puzzle element to it. So there's certain sections where it's puzzles. They don't necessarily tell you what to do or guide
Mm.
you in the right direction. I'm not saying
Mm.
to tell the player straight up what you need to do, but
Mm.
at least guide them. It's like it's hard. Like at one point, I was looking
Something.
at a room. Like for an hour, I was looking at a room. What am I supposed to do over here?
Mm.
Uh,
It was
yeah,
like
that's
that.
not fun
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Another game that I played, uh, I forgot actually to mark it, but it's the remake of System Shock.
Oh, nice.
Uh, that is a fantastic remake. It's a remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, wow.
That was done with TLC, and they basically took the original game,
Mhm.
which is tedious to play nowadays. Like it is like unless you remember, like for nostalgia reasons, it's great.
Hmm.
But for any player that plays it today, like the controls are atrociously bad.
Yeah.
They made it so that it's made in I think it's Unreal Engine 4, I think.
Oh
So it
wow.
looks fantastic.
So they
It
overhauled the
plays
UI and everything.
they remade the game
Mm.
like like how they remade Psycho like scene per scene
Mm.
like years later, like they made you have
Mm.
the original Psycho and then they remade it like 30 years later,
Right.
scene per scene, same idea. They remade the game the exact same thing. There's a few changes here and there, but very few. It's essentially sticking to the original game. It's
Oh, that's so
very
good.
very good, but it's basically modernized for
Hmm.
today.
Hmm.
The controls are modernized,
Oh
the
man.
UI is modernized, everything is modern. It's a fantastic game. Anybody that played System Shock, at least
Hmm.
System Shock 2 is a lot more approachable. If you like the System Shock 2, you'll love the remake for System Shock. And I do hope they remake the second one
That
because
System
it's
Shock was
fantastic.
great, man. You kidding me? That's they need to read. They need to do a full. Well, I don't know if they need to do a full remaster of Deus Ex, but yeah,
A lot of
this.
people have asked to do the DSX remake in
Yeah.
the same engine as Mankind Divided.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. But the still, I
Um,
heard there was the project for the third game. I heard was kind of the kibosh was put on it for whatever reason. Unfortunately, I mean,
Well, so
oh, rough.
technically speaking, on paper,
Mhm.
Deus Ex, the new Deus Ex, so
Mhm.
Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, did not meet expectations.
I know. I thought
And
it was
what does that mean? Like was the
they didn't.
expectation
I don't think
too
it made
high?
the money.
Well, that's the thing, but like, did it? Because I know a lot of people that love Human Revolution and they bought it. I know a lot of people that have Mankind Divided and they bought it.
Yeah.
So like I to say like it didn't make money, okay, is I think that the bar was way too high and they were never gonna reach it.
Mm.
And Eidos was having issues as well. So they kind
Mhm.
of now it's under a new ownership. They sold the franchise.
Yeah.
There's hope that they revive it because the
Yeah.
developers that worked on it, they want to close out the story because technically speaking, the second game finished on a to be continued.
Yes. Yes, it
It
definitely
basically
did.
says like we're going to be doing this after, and then it never came out. So it'd
Yeah.
be nice to finish the game, like to actually finish the story or the arc.
Love that series.
Um, I mean, the original Deus Ex. I mean, and to be fair, you're the one that kind of put it on my radar when I streamed it.
It's good. So good.
And I'm like, holy crap! I never actually played. I
Well, the
never
one
played.
the one for PC was hard because it was hard. Like
Yeah,
the
well, it's
you die to the first enemy you meet. You don't know what
yeah.
you're doing so easy, and you're like, "Oh, wow, that's kind of
You
crazy."
but once you get the feel for the game, though, like it's
Mm.
super engaging. The story is
Whoa,
relevant.
light years ahead of relevant to the point that it was almost freaky when this thing hit. What you call it? The
Pandemic.
pandemic. It was like,
Yeah.
uh-oh. I was just waiting. I was waiting to hear something from France and Hong Kong. I was like, "Where is he? Where is he? He's here. He's trying to get he's trying to get the ambrosia, to like
Yeah.
it was so but the comparison, oh my goodness. Like you're talking about a parallel that was so close. You know what I mean? Like, whoa,
Yeah.
wait a second. What the
And the game is only half the size it's supposed to be, right? You do know that, right?
yeah, because they didn't have enough seed. It was huge
They
as
didn't
it
have enough
was
time. They
back
had to cut
then.
the game because for time. Like they didn't have enough time, or else the game would have been double the size.
Oh
Now
man,
think of that. In 2000,
right,
already the
right.
game it's kind of a full open world in a way because
Hmm.
it is a streamlined game, but you can't walk a bit around and discover. That's I kind of call it a full open world.
Yeah.
Um, but if it
And
would have been double the size,
yeah, and the
and
fact that
then
you had so many pathways, that's what I liked about it. You literally it was linear in the story and the progression, but
yeah,
the
true.
pathway to get there was not linear at all. So
And I
you literally
feel and I
amazing,
feel that
amazing.
they sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead,
Sorry,
go
there was
ahead.
a bit of like there which they recaptured a bit of that in Human Revolution and Mankind Divided,
Mm,
because you can maybe not to the same extent, but you can still, like, there's still multiple ways to do the same thing,
yeah.
right? There's, like, 3 4 different ways. You can go through the vent, you can
Hmm.
go through the
Hmm.
front door, you can go
Hmm.
guns a blazing, you can go sneaking, right?
Right.
um, which they completely botched in the second game that came out for
Yeah.
console.
It was, oh yeah, absolutely. But
The
that's a whole different take though. But there was a reason for that, you know?
I there yeah, there is a reason for that, but it was such a letdown.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I played
was.
back to back. I played Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex, and then
Mm,
I played. So I downloaded it. I had bought it on PC. I bought it,
mm.
and it's not streamable. There's no fix out there for that second game. It's in
Oh,
Invisible
really?
War.
It's just that bad.
Because what happens is
Ooh.
that if when the game's like, let's say you die, it opens up a new window. So the old window that you were playing on,
Oh,
it dies. It
what a
goes black.
weird, what a
And
weird.
so you have to kind of
Why would it
switch
do
in
that?
because it's old. It's
No, I
just
know,
the
I know.
way
I'm just saying, like, that's so, that's
it's so
wild.
random. So I had to take out my original Xbox because I had it on my original Xbox. I still had the game, and I played it from the original Xbox.
Mm,
That's how I played it, which was the intent initially.
right.
Because that
Mm.
second game, right, the whole reason that it was restrictive is
It was
because they,
for consoles, yeah.
yeah, it had elements that were okay, but it was, I came from doing, I came from playing Human Revolution, Mankind Divided, then I played the original Deus Ex, and then I came to Invisible War, and I'm like, where's the open world? Where's
Right.
the,
It's such a
it's,
step back.
well, the thing that's weird is, like, you're going from one city to another,
Mm, hmm.
but it's like going through a hallway. It's like
Right.
going from
Everything is
your
just tight
it's like going from your
spaces.
living room to the kitchen. It's like you're walking to, so in one room you're London, and the next room you're you're Cambridge. That makes
Yep.
no sense.
It
Like,
was crazy.
it was weird. So I was like,
It
yeah,
was.
I was not a fan. So anyways, all that to come back to Atomic Heart. So that was Atomic Heart. I also played
What a tangent.
yeah, it's okay. It's the rabbit hole podcast. Um, I played Starfield.
Oh, please tell me your thoughts on that because I
Yeah,
was very disappointed. I was.
I wasn't,
Well,
and I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you why.
so
So
my disappointment was more of a technical issue. I had I have, good hardware. I have a SSD that's on the what is it,
okay,
NVMe,
okay.
and it was still running horrible. I was like, "What is this? Why is this game so bad?" The desyncs with the sound, just the gazillion loading screens. Oh, it was very, very frustrating for me
I'll be
personally.
very honest. I played it on the Series X,
Mm,
so I didn't really have a lot of the issues on the PC had. The loading screens, yeah, okay. You get used. For me, it's like, yeah, it's annoying at the beginning, and then you get used to them.
I mean, yeah, that wasn't like the main gripe.
So
It
so
wasn't that big an issue, but it was
so
mostly
from
the other
a
stuff.
Starfield perspective, I kind of give it the same
Mm,
review as I did for the Outer Worlds,
mm,
where I said this is a great foundation for a series of game.
mhm,
So it'll be great for the second, like when they build this, like Starfield 2 or the Outer Worlds 2, because the foundation, they build a foundation. Yeah, the story was okay and
mm.
stuff like that, but it's a
That
good foundation to. So Starfield, I have a feeling that
the
they
story
build all the
though,
technical,
yeah.
the foundation for it.
I
Yeah, you
thought
have open worlds and stuff like that.
I thought the
Um,
story element, what they did with it, was pretty unique. That premise, I thought especially when you do the new game plus stuff. I mean, I don't know if anybody
yeah,
knows, but that to me was amazing. I thought that was so cool because they could have done so much more though, and they didn't. Which is like, man,
the
you could have
story. Well,
done
the actual main
crazy
story.
stuff.
Well, the main story is very reminiscent of Mass Effect
Mm,
in
hmm,
a lot of
hmm,
ways. Um, there's things in the game, and that's the thing that's the pro and the con.
mm,
The pro is there's things you don't have to do. You don't want to scan a planet. I don't care. Like, you don't have to do it.
Right. You
You
don't
can
even
go.
need to do the settlement building or anything. That's all optional.
No. So that I really appreciate it
That's what
because
I like
that's
though.
no, but that's fine. Like, there's a model for like they kind of took the model of Fallout 76 and Fallout
Yeah,
4,
yeah, that's what it looked like. Mhm.
and they kind of tweaked it a bit. So it's that. But if you don't like that aspect, like, give me a game that all I'm doing is settlement building, or give me a game that I travel. Like, I don't like to
Mm,
do the settlement building while I'm playing the game. Like, I find it's tedious for me,
mm,
especially when you want to do the story. However, having played the story, um, it's an okay story. I do like the voice acting. I do like.
mhm,
There's a few. First of all, at least from an Xbox perspective,
mm.
and been playing that since Fallout 3, I think, from Bethesda. I've been playing their games on pretty much an Xbox machine. It's the first game that I have to say that was had the least amount of bugs, and the least
Yeah.
amount of glitches. Yeah, on the Series X, not the
All
PC
right.
necessarily, or whatever. I feel that it was one of the least glitch. Now, is it possible that I happen to not hit those glitches? Very
Listen,
possible.
I'm glad because there was some frustrating, but my issues were more technical than so my bugs
Yeah, a lot of people
were technical
complain.
bugs, and
A
those
lot of
those
people
kind of hurt me
complain.
more than anything. Yeah.
There were a couple of but like traditional Bethesda bugs, which make me
Hmm.
feel like I was home. One of one of them is there's a mission where it's actually it's pretty it's a pretty cool mission.
Mm,
You're kind of you you find a ship that left Earth like 200 years ago,
yeah.
and they're trying to hit, trying to go to planet X, but because it took them so long,
Mm,
like, the evolution of the system, like, everybody evolved around them.
right.
So, but they still had old technology. Um, and so you board the ship, and it's really cool because they have like Apple IIs on the ship. It's hilarious.
Lol.
Like, you have old tech, you see old tech, you see old gaming systems, you see, like, I think an
That's
Atari at
funny.
some point. It's hilarious.
Those are the relics, man. The relics of the past.
Yeah, exactly. So, having said that, so at one point, like, there's a mission specifically for that ship and stuff like that, but then there's like
Mm,
side missions. You go back to it periodically, right?
mm. I would have loved to have been able to play it if I could have, though. Like I read a lot of the critics. I listened, not read, but I listened to a lot of the criticisms from the videos, and I ran into the technical problems. So the technical problems really what killed it for me because out the gate I couldn't really play it. You know what I mean? Like I loved the premise, I loved the spaceship building, I loved the flying around, I loved the settlement building. Like that was all like my cup of tea. You know what I mean? But not being
Yeah.
able to like the so I'm still pretty vision impaired.
Hmm.
I'm blind. I'm blind. I have still working out of the peripheral vision, which I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, but it is what it is. I did get a larger monitor though. That was one thing. So part of the support groups I was a part of, they did say, look, for the low vision issues that you have, just get a huge 4K monitor. And it's true because since I'm only being able to see in certain areas of my peripheral, the large crisp 4K monitor makes a difference.
Yeah.
So I can see a little better what was going on. So now that I have this, one, games in 3K aren't really fleshed out. They really don't make games for that full scale resolution. And I
Yeah.
get that because it's not mainstream. But then there were the desync sound issues. That drives me crazy because I can see that there's talking, but there's nothing coming out. And then all of a sudden the voice comes out afterwards. That drives me insane. And this is somebody that watches dubbed kung fu movies, you know what I mean? Where so but it's like come on, really? I was like, really? Is this really an issue? Is this
but
really
even
happening right now?
but even like, you would figure, like, with the years
Mm.
they would have improved the character models
It
and
did,
the
it
voice
did
like the voice acting
it did
itself is
seem to be
good.
updated. Yeah, the voice acting was all right.
The
I
voice
wasn't
acting
an issue.
itself is good. It's the lips never follow. Like I don't understand. You have like double A, even like
Weird.
independent
Yeah.
that are amazing, and they do it really good. And then you have a multi-billion-dollar company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have like you know
Mm-hmm.
200,000 lines of lines of dialogue. Okay, but you have to make it sync. Like at one point, like it's 2024. It's not
Right.
2007. Like I can understand in 2007, not now.
Yeah, it was
Um,
crazy. So you mentioned a lot of these. It's interesting. You mentioned a lot of adventure games, first person shooters. So why do you like playing these games specifically, like
um,
Starfield and stuff like that? What is it
yeah.
about these games that gets you to play them?
Most people they'll approach it like in a sense that it's oh, I like space adventures, or like
Mm,
I don't care. It's like the same thing as movies. I just it to be quite honest, gaming in terms of story, like I
mm,
play the games because of the story.
okay.
It usually, if you've looked at my streams, I used to say like on the weekends I play some retro games, and on the week I play a story-driven game.
Mm,
And it could be anything. It could be sci-fi. It could be,
mhm.
like The Witcher 3. That's a period piece, more or less, right? An
Or
old type.
that police game used to.
Oh, Police Quest?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Police Quest. Yeah, that's with Sonny Bonds.
Oof.
Yeah,
That
from
was an
Sierra.
that was an old game.
That game, playing that game in 1980s without the internet. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
You
really.
need to buy the hint book for $20, 1999,
Oh,
from
forget it.
Sierra, because you didn't have the hint book. Like,
There
forget
was
it.
no. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Go. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So to me, it kind of replaced movies and TV. Like I rather play a game where I'm actually involved in the story and I
Mm,
have a say in what the outcome of the game is.
nice.
More like, I mean, with reason. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't understand there's games that are linear and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
there's a story to it, right? And I'm involved. I'm playing the game, right? I'm part of the show. I'm part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, like the movies that come out, for me, I feel they're crap. The majority of them.
The
There's a
last
few
the last few years have been pretty bad. I agree.
like I have superhero fatigue. I had superhero fatigue like 5 years ago, but like now it's something comes out, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because everything and I think we spoke about this last podcast. I think
Mm,
um, it's basically the movies that come out, other than Barbie and Oppenheimer. All the other movies are either a franchise. Well,
mm,
actually, they're all
mhm.
franchises, or they're a remake of something,
Right. They're
and
not
that's pretty
original.
much it.
There's no original IP. It's rare
But
to have an original IP now, which is like
but they're but they're
now is the
not.
time for it though. Right.
Yeah, but there's
Exactly what you said. There's you said it. People want something new, not the same old rehash stuff. But then the old rehash stuff is boring. It's not even like enjoyable to watch. You know.
like I used to. I don't know. I grew up mostly in the 80s and 90s, right? My 90s were my teen years.
Mm,
Uh, and that's when I used to go to the movies a lot. And I used to
hmm.
remember like the dramas were in the fall, the blockbuster big action movies was in the summer,
Summer. Yep.
and then throughout the year, then you had like some scary movies and you had martial arts. Name me a martial arts movie other than that Ip Man
Hmm.
that actually was promoted, that was actually released mainstream in the thing in
I
the
know.
theater. There's
Oh,
not.
nope. Not
Like
over
I mean,
here.
like the Chuck Norris, like yeah, you can make fun of Chuck Norris with the Chuck Norris fans. You can make fun of Jean Claude Van Damme and even Steven Seagal. You can make fun, but he used to come out with movies like once every few
I
years,
saw Delta
and
Force the other day.
yeah, that's
Wow.
intense. Is it which one? Oh, Missing in Action. He doesn't speak for the first
Mm.
like hour and a half. Like I don't understand.
No. Are you
He doesn't.
serious?
Yeah, he doesn't speak. Like I don't know if it's the hour and a half. I think it's like half an hour, 45 minutes. He doesn't
That's
speak
hysterical. I
because he
never
has
saw
like
that.
this condition. Like he has like post traumatic stress disorder,
Right, right,
and
right.
like he just
He
like
really
every
can't
time he
speak
looks at
anything.
He doesn't say. He barely says anything. Like I think he says hi or whatever and yes, but he doesn't. His
Mm,
actual dialogue is a bit later.
that's funny.
Um, yeah. He's it's insane. Um,
That's
that you
hysterical.
if you want to laugh, honestly laugh, and not a this is a bad karate movie. Bad, like no, not like the ones you're looking like. I know that you like those
Mm,
Bruce Lee
love them.
remakes there. That the
Yeah.
Bruce Lee LE,
Bruce
Bruce Lee
Lee.
LI.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
Love
Bruce
him.
Lee. Yeah. Um, the new Steven Seagal movies are so bad.
Oh God.
Like it's
I've
not
seen
even
some of them. They're not even like funny to
it.
watch. They're just bad.
It's he had a love scene
Oh God. Oh Lord.
and she's dressed in sexy wear. I
Oh man.
forget what movie it is. I honestly don't have a clue. They all merged together because they all look the same.
Yeah.
She's dressed like the love interest. She's dressed like in sexy wear, and he goes to bed with black jeans and a hoodie
God.
and his ponytail, right, which looked like a wig. Anyways,
Probably
having said
was.
that, so they do a sexy. You see them going down, like like a
Mm.
fade out,
Right.
and he wakes up in the morning dressed the same way, like he had
Wow.
sex with like that outfit, and I'm like, it makes no sense.
With the clothes on. I mean,
It was
hey.
it was like it made zero sense. First of all, he doesn't even do his own action
Oh,
sequences
well,
anymore.
he's
Like even
old.
the fight scenes.
He might get hurt.
While he is getting up there in age, like let's
Yeah,
be
he
like
is.
like all look at all the action. I know this is another rabbit hole. I apologize. This is a gaming podcast,
Yeah.
but um, if you look at all the action heroes we grew up with, Chuck Norris is in his 80s.
Mm.
Arnold is in his 70s. Stallone is in his 70s. You know, Jet Li is in his 60s
Oh, Jet
or
Li's
late
going.
50s.
He's got some weird neurological condition, man. He was. Oh man. I mean, and that's a whole other. That's yeah. Jet Li. He's. I think Jackie Chan is the one that like is still fully functional for the most part.
But even then, he doesn't do. If
No,
you look at the movies that he does,
not anymore. He
they're a
doesn't do
bit
his.
more varied.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't
if
do
he
his own
does do a
stunts either
scene,
anymore.
well, yeah, well, yeah, at his age, he might actually die if the
Yeah,
same stunts
exactly.
happen now. He probably dies. Like it. I didn't realize for years. Rumble in the Bronx, the whole second half of the movie, he filmed it with a sock on top of a cast. He broke
Yeah.
his ankle,
Yep.
but I
And
never realized it.
he still made the movie. He's crazy.
Yeah, he finished the movie on a
Yep.
broken ankle.
Yep.
And to be fair, I never like. Did you like? I didn't think of it. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess the shots that they didn't show his legs as much and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe there wasn't as much fighting, but he still fought.
He
So
did.
like, I don't.
I
So
didn't
I
think
don't
anything was
know.
wrong.
And then it's like years later, like behind the scenes, it's like, oh yeah, he broke this, he broke that, he broke that.
Right.
Okay.
It was absolutely
Um,
crazy.
yeah. So to go back to the games, what was the actual question? I don't remember what the
Oh,
original question
what is
was.
what is it about these games that
Oh
draws
yeah.
you to play
So
them?
yeah. So basically it replaced for me it replaced like movies and TV
Mm,
shows. There's a few TV shows that I do stream that I've watched. More or less. Like Picard is one of them. Reacher, which
mm,
is fantastic.
yeah.
There's a few others. I'm sure there's some other, but those are the main ones. To be fair, like I rather just sit down and play a game where I'm involved, and
It's so
so
much
it
more
kind of
interactive. Yeah.
yeah. I find the storytelling better in games. Now, to be
Mm,
fair, gaming industry is starting to become very, very, very similar to the movie industry where money is
mm,
what speaks.
yeah.
There's still more indies, like
So it's interesting you bring that up though, because that was actually one of the upcoming questions because I've noticed that too. There's definitely been a shift in just overall quality. You have these, and you mentioned it before. I think before we even started, we were talking about how you have this AAA gaming studio making this game, and there's just a lot just missing. you know? And then
Mhm.
you have indie games that are coming out that are literally early access, well, that I've experienced for some early access games. They're early access, but they're so polished and you think you're playing a complete game and they're literally like, "Oh no, this is just phase 1," and then they have a whole list of things they still want to do. And
Yeah.
it's so crazy because you have the AAA gaming studios, right? Because this year, and you mentioned Starfield, which was it's a big topic of controversy because there's a lot of people, especially in the PC gaming community, who were just so put off by all the issues, and
Mhm.
technical issues that a game that's being made by a company of this caliber with the budget that it had should not have. I mean,
Yeah.
when you have one person making a game that, yeah, it may take 2 3 years, but it is so polished, it's one or two people though, you know what I mean? How come now you have, because last year there's another game. I don't know if you as far as I know, you really don't play these sort of games. Like, it's called City Skylines 2. It's a city builder.
Oh yeah, I love those games.
Oh, all right. So City Skylines 2 though, kind
It's garbage.
yeah, it really was. But they they hyped this game, like, it was to the point that I actually bought it. I never pre-buy a game for this reason, because the hype, I know I should know better by now. At my age, when the hype is this good, let's wait, see how it is. But no, I was like, I would like a new game to play. I played the heck out of City Skylines 1. It came out, this game, again, another technically plagued with technical issues, this game, which was crazy because they've been working on this game since 2000, no, not even 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
2018 or 2019. They have a great set of developers,
Mhm.
and you're playing it, not so the saves all corrupt sometimes when it crashes. There was a
Mhm.
weird bug where if you open the map, there would be like this column of water, literally the size of your map,
Yeah.
that just comes down
The
and destroys your map. It was like, what the heck is
the
this?
one glitch that I love is the so you build, like, let's say you want to build a subway line that's above the city, like,
Mm,
it's an above ground,
mhm, mhm.
and it goes above the city. Fantastic. But there's no stairs to go down. So if you actually
Yeah, that
look
was
at
weird because
it, so if you look
you were able to actually do it in this version, whereas the other one you had to like really do some weird stuff or get a
no,
mod.
but this one, if you zoom in, you'll see
Mhm.
people going down invisible stairs,
Oh, doing
but
the
they're not
floating.
there.
Yeah,
They're not there. You can't even build it. You can't do anything.
I know.
There's that, and there's the fact that there's some elements of. I played it for like about 10 hours
Mm,
on Xbox because it was
mhm,
on Game Pass day one, and I wanted to play it, so I didn't buy it. I played it on Game Pass.
mhm.
Um,
Smart.
well, that's
That's
why I
all I'll
have Game
say.
Pass. That's why I have Game Pass.
Mm,
Um, there's elements where it used to be stuff out of the box in this first game,
mhm.
and now in this one they removed it for whatever reason, or it's part of something else. Like you'll have to buy a pack to get those particular elements or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
it seems
Whereas
that
the
way.
original, and it's like, okay, that like,
Right,
so
right.
at this point you're better off playing City Skylines 1 with
Mhm,
mods than you're better off
mhm.
playing City Skylines 2.
And it's a shame too because it did look better. The way the dev blogs that they sold how the new simulation's going to run and everything, because I like the industrial aspect, setting up production chains and stuff like that. I played a few games that have that as part of the city building, plethora of things that you do in the game, and
Hmm.
that to me is fun. It's been hard to play them because there's nuances where you have to, like, if you don't know what's happening, reading it, I can't really read it to get the details, especially if I can't make the UI or the interface larger, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, but for the most part, games like that I've been able to finagle my way through so far.
Hmm.
But no matter what you did, it didn't work. Or I should say it would work and then sometimes it would just stop.
Yeah.
Like your train station would get full of mail or trash. It's like why does my train station have trash in it? It was so frustrating. And oh my good, that's interesting. I didn't know you like those type of games. That's cool. Is there
Yeah,
any is there
I'm the original. I played the original Sim City, the whole
oh
Sim,
man.
the Sim City, Sim City 2000, Sim City 3000.
Yeah. Yeah, those
Um,
games.
those Sim games,
Are there any games you like any type of or style of games that you avoid, like that you just won't
PvP multiplayer games, I can't stand them.
really just
Call
you
of
just
Duty,
don't.
Battlefield.
Mm,
I the last multiplayer game I actually invested in, like
mm,
time wise, was Halo 2.
okay, but you
And
won't do
then
the PvP aspect. You just play the solo campaign.
I either played this. Well, even then, like Call of Duty, the solo campaign's like 6 hours. Like, why am I going to pay for
Mm,
full price for a game that's not useful for me? And unfortunately,
that was a disappointment. Yeah,
Halo became, and it's a sad thing. I
another
played the Infinite.
another AAA game that just like
To
how do
be
you have
fair,
so
though,
many?
to be fair,
How do you have so many people though? These guys have hundreds of developers on this game,
yeah,
and
it went through like development hell too, right? They
yeah,
had like they it went they
company
delayed it a year.
acquisition and
They deleted a year. They scrapped the story. They rebuilt it again. They like to be fair. So the story is okay.
mhm,
To be fair, like I did like Halo Infinite. It was fun.
mm,
What I feel is a shame the elements that made the original Halo or Halo 2 or Halo 3 the story.
mhm.
Like, yeah, there's the multiplayer aspect that everybody liked, fine, but the story was well taken care of, was done with TLC, and it was really, really well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and they kind of lost their way.
Mm.
Their focus is kind of like, okay, multiplayer,
Well, it was a
but
totally different studio, right? I mean,
well,
that's
so yeah, so the first three were Bungie. Now, to be fair, a lot of people say, oh, everything that 343 did was garbage.
mm,
The Halo collection, the Halo Master Chief collection is
mm,
fantastic.
mm.
Especially they remade Halo 2.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They remade the cutscenes. It looks fantastic. Like
Oh
it
wow.
looks really, really good. Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Halo 4, I didn't find it to be that bad.
Mm,
Like a lot of people poo-pooed it, but it
mhm,
wasn't like it was a Halo game. I'm like, okay, I'm there. The story was a bit chaotic, but I'm whatever.
mm, mhm.
Halo 5 was weird. They kind of did this. So Halo 5, you don't play as Master Chief for
Right.
90% of the game, except
I
for
know.
one mission.
It's like, what
They
happened?
they they should have. So I think they were trying to do what they did with Halo 2,
Mm.
where there were elements of you played as the Arbiter, I
Right,
think,
but that
or
was you played as Master Chief first, and he was the
yes,
primary focus of the game, though.
yeah, and then for a couple of missions you played
And
as
then
the
playing
Arbiter,
the
which
that's what made it so cool because it was like you're playing the Halo game. Oh wow, I'm playing as
the
this
enemy. Well,
right.
the technically the enemy, right? So, which was fine. So they tried to do that with 5. It did not work. And the game, the story was super short. Like I played it, I
Mm.
finished it in a weekend.
Oh
That
wow.
was before I had kids, but it was like before I played it. It was like 8 hours. I was done.
Right.
Like it was stupid. It was like
Yeah,
stupid short.
that's really short. Like that's
And
really short.
then
Holy cow.
so then they came out with Halo Infinite,
Mm.
where
That one was a little
it's
better.
it's okay. I still found it short though.
Yeah.
It was like 10, 12 hours max, and that's if like you like to do a
Mm.
lot of the side missions and stuff like that. The main mission was okay.
Yeah, but
Yes,
you
it's an
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, because you made a point that they were focusing more on this multiplayer element.
That's what it looks like. Like
Yeah.
even Halo 5, like it seems that their focus, because the multiplayer is their bread and butter, and even the
Right.
multiplayer
Right.
when it launched on Infinite was not great. A lot of people complained. It took a
Hmm.
couple of
Hmm.
years. Now it's actually the players that do play the game really like the multiplayer. They really did a good thing, but they didn't really release anything new for the main story. Like they
Mm,
didn't have any DLC or anything, as far as I know. And if they
right,
did,
right.
it wasn't very well advertised because I had no idea.
Such a,
Um,
I mean,
it's
it's yeah. The Halo
so
series has gone through its it had its golden age, and I think they just tried to. It felt like they were trying to get that group of players, like teasing them, just to make a quick buck. That's what it felt like. Because if you compare them to the earlier games, they are in no way as fleshed out in terms of story. I mean, that's really why you played Halo. It wasn't like Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Call of
no,
Duty is you play that for the multiplayer, and the single player complements
is
the
it
multiplayer.
the single player is a tutorial for the multiplayer.
Right,
That's
basically.
basically
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
is,
exactly. Exactly.
right?
Whereas
So
the Halo series, you were playing like the lore and everything. I still remember the first Halo game. You know what I mean? And I still remember I was at my friend's house, the scene where the flood shows up. You know what I
mm,
mean? I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because I still remember how crazy that was. Because they just come out of nowhere because they show up
yeah,
and you got to fight them, and they literally overwhelm you and you die. You know what I mean? If you have no idea what's going to happen, 9 times out of 10 you're not escaping that because you're not positioned well. You have no idea what's going to happen. You're expecting normal enemies, not a gazillion. You're not
yeah.
expecting the flood to show up. Literally, it
But
was like, oh my god, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah, go
but
ahead.
the thing about Halo One is that, and I'm sure there's other games out there, and I'm sure somebody will probably write a comment to you saying, "Yeah, this guy is nuts." For me, at least, that was the first game where they perfected the controls. And even now, if you go back,
Mm,
the controls are still a little bit wonky. Like they didn't perfect it the way it is today. Like now, a
mm,
first-person shooter on console, if you play with the controller, it's pretty much fleshed out. Like
yeah.
it's the same on every game. Like they figured out the
Right. Right.
formula,
Right.
and that's it. That was the first game that kind of got it almost to that formula. The only thing that
Yeah.
sucked was
Yeah.
the I have small hands, and I had had the biggest controller ever in the Xbox
The
controller.
Xbox One. I know the
Yeah,
controller you're talking. It was huge. It was
yeah.
ginormous.
It was like, yeah,
Yeah, it was a
and
big
then
controller.
they came out with the 360, and I'm like, that's the best. That was the best one.
It
The
was.
one in the Series
That
X
was
are
such
good
a
as well,
good
but that one
console.
was fantastic. Like
That's funny.
it, from an Xbox perspective, the 360 was probably the best generation for it.
Mm,
Like it had the games, they had the hardware, it had everything going for it.
yeah.
They screwed up the last year or so, but they kind of, anyways. Let's go back to the story of our of our actual podcast. Um, what was the question?
So you were the games you avoid like the play. You said I was
Oh yeah,
actually going to segue back into that. Why do you avoid the multiplayer games? What is it about the multiplayer that you just don't want to deal
um,
with that? I mean, I think I know because I think we've had this discussion before, but let's share with
um,
those listening.
I just don't. I'm not. So a typical FPS, let's
Mm,
say like a Halo or whatever.
mm,
I You can take your time. Like you fail you know um a level or whatever, you just restart over and you figure
mm,
out the
mm,
pattern. You're fine. Multiplayer, unless it's not fun anymore because it's so competitive. Number one,
mm,
if you're a somewhat of a beginner, like if or a casual multiplayer, it's very tough. Halo probably is the one, even with Infinite, is probably the one that's the easiest to get into
mm.
from a multiplayer perspective for somebody that's more of a casual gamer. But forget about Call of Duty. They have the freaking betas and stuff like that, or Battlefield. They have the betas, and they have
Yeah.
people that dedicate their lives to playing only Call of Duty.
Yes.
It's like that. I think so. Funny story. So the only time I bought myself, and I'm not a PlayStation hater. Please, I bought mostly Xbox, but I did buy a PlayStation at some point. I just don't like the controller for a PlayStation. I just never got used to it.
Yeah, it's
I
like
just can't.
thin, and I know what you mean. It's like
Like
it's too small.
I
I've
to
always
me
felt.
the thumbstick, I know it's something stupid, but the thumbstick at the bottom on the left hand side is
Mm,
weird to me. Like
Mm.
I can't get used to that. Like to
Mm.
me, it has to be where the Xbox controller is. Probably because I've been trained to use that.
Well,
Anyways,
yeah, I was gonna say.
but for me personally, it's hard. But I know if the other way around, PlayStation people like players
Mm,
will
mm,
have trouble with the Xbox controller
mm,
because of that button being or that thumbstick being uh, at the
mm.
wrong place, I guess. Um, so yeah, story. I bought a PlayStation. I think I got a gift card for Best Buy or something,
Nice.
and I needed a DVD player or a Blu-ray player, and
Okay.
it ended up being the cheapest thing. Was buying a PlayStation Four,
That's just there. In,
PlayStation
or-
Three. Sorry.
instead of an actual Blu-ray player.
Well, I had a gift certificate.
That's funny.
A Blu-ray player was like something like 250, and I
Yeah,
could have and I got like the PlayStation 4. Like it
yeah.
wasn't the Pro, it was the sorry, PlayStation 3,
Mm.
and I got it for like $300
Yeah,
or
it
whatever.
was like it's like why am I going to get a Blu-ray player when I can get a game system that's the
So
same
for
damn price?
50 bucks more, I can play games.
Right.
Anyways, so my wife was on board, so I'm like, yay.
Hey, that means
Um,
that means it's a
so
go.
so guys at work are like, oh, you bought a PlayStation, you have to get Battlefield 3. We need a sniper, this and that. I'm like, okay, well,
Hilarious.
give me a couple of weeks, and I'll get. So I got Battlefield
You got
3.
recruited, bro.
I started playing
That's funny.
to get used to it. I'm like, okay, guys, you guys want to play some Battlefield 3? We're not playing Battlefield 3 anymore. We're playing something else. I'm like,
What?
f off. I'm like, I literally bought the freaking thing for. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Screw
That
this.
sucks. Yeah.
And so basically, like, I bought Battlefield. It was a fun game. I just like, I'm just not. And at one point, like, you respawn, and then
Mm.
there's guys that specifically know where people
Yes.
respawn, and they just
Yeah.
stay there and they just shoot you, and it's like,
Those
okay,
are called the spawn campers, and they are the bane of
yeah,
many people's existence. Yes, I know.
but that's, I mean, it takes the fun away
Annoying.
from it for me,
Mm.
and don't get me wrong, I understand the idea of it, and I understand why people like it. I'm not
Mm.
poo-pooing the idea of like, I don't like it, it sucks. No, it's just not for me, and
Right.
that's a distinction that
Which is
people
a
have a
fair
lot of
point.
problems with.
Mm.
People have a lot of problems having that distinguishing line in
Mm. Mm.
gaming. It's like
Mm.
you say you're okay. I don't like this type of game because of this, and they
Mm.
kind of go super defensive. I
Mm.
Yeah, but it's not a game for. That's the whole point of gaming.
Right.
Like I don't
No,
have to
I
like the
agree.
same type of games as you,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason why some Twitch streams that I watch, like Kenny is one of them.
Mm.
Um,
He does the
he
shmups. I love
he does the shmups, and he plays like a lot of he does Better Quake Than Never, which was
Mm.
supposed to be like a year, and he's been doing it for 3 years now.
Wow.
It's basically he plays all the Quake packs that come out. He's played them all.
All the custom stuff. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
plays and he grades them and he reviews them like
Yep.
on the spot, and he says, oh, this is good, this is great. He knows all the guys that, like, he knows who did what and whatever. So like, I watch him because it's games that I wouldn't play. Like, would I play Quake?
Mm.
Absolutely. Would I play the packs?
Mm.
Probably not.
Mm.
Like, I don't have the patience to kind of look at what's good and what's not, and have to play everything. It's not my jam, and I don't think I would necessarily do it. But I watch
Right.
him play it
Yeah, yeah.
because I know, like, he likes playing that, and it's fine.
Yeah.
One year,
No, that's
go ahead.
interesting. Because I know, because in our discussions that we've had, offline and stuff, and even in your stream, you do mention you just don't like the PvP games. Like even League of Legends, it's just something about it, just and I totally respect that. Like I don't get why some people can't just understand, oh, you don't like it. That's like someone saying they don't like a certain food or something like that, because it doesn't appeal to their taste buds, which is fine. That's why we have a gazillion different types of food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you have to like it. Like listen, I like boring industry automation games. I know for a fact people do not like those type of games. They will get bored out of their mind. And that's fine. That is totally fine. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "Bro, what's wrong with you? You need to like this game. This game is amazing." You know what I
So
mean? Even though I say that about like Super Metroid, so I got one buddy that he doesn't think that game is any good. Death by Cows, but you know, and we've had some interesting discussions about it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, and that's and that I like hearing though about it because it's different. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different genre that they love, and there's always a genre that they stay away from. It's always, and I like hearing about that. I like hearing about that
I
because
never understood. I never understood people like we'll go back to Starfield.
mm,
They played like 150 hours, 200 hours.
I couldn't
Yeah, I
even get
freaking
a
hated this game with a passion. So why
couldn't
the hell
even
did you
get an
play
hour
it?
in. I know.
So why the hell did you play it? It's like why would you go through the torture? Like Atomic Heart, I finished it because I was on stream. If I
Mm.
wasn't on stream,
You
there's no
wouldn't
way I would
play.
have finished that game. I would have left it like actually, to be fair to Switchy, I would have probably left it at the 10-hour mark
That's
because I
hilarious.
was because it was like it honestly it
It
was
wasn't that good for you, huh?
it's weird because it's like I should be like like it's
Mm.
beautiful. You're like
Mhm,
okay, I
mhm.
should be liking this, and you're just like
It didn't. It didn't
so
click.
frustrated.
Yeah.
No, it didn't at all. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's really great. I'm like, all right,
Yeah, for
that's
them, it didn't click,
I
but you know what I mean? So you actually haven't been streaming for a while, and I know why. You know,
yeah.
the family situation. You know, you got kids. It's just hard. But do you have any wild like gaming highlights that have, in the last year or so that you could remember? You know what I mean? Like
Um,
anything crazy that's happened? I mean, we can think about real life stuff, but there's definitely plenty of real life crazy stuff that we could talk about. But I mean, like in the gaming space, there's anything that's
yeah.
popped up or it's been
Um,
pretty. Go ahead.
no, I've actually like been able to play like time to time. I just don't stream it just
Mm,
because if my kid cries in me in stream, I have to leave the stream. Right? There's no
right.
point of
Exactly.
streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Oh yes.
in terms of, I'm actually happy that I was able to finish Starfield.
Okay.
I'm actually proud of that because it's a game that you could easily get sidetracked,
Mm, yes.
um, and you can
Was
easily spend like 100 hours just doing, and that's the whole point of the game, right? You can
So
get
did you
like
did a new game plus or no?
no, I just played the main game.
So you know what
I
happens though with the new game plus.
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
assuming.
I just haven't I haven't got to that point. I'm then if ever
Mm,
I do stream it, I probably do it as a game plus
mm.
next time.
Hopefully you
Um,
get some of the crazy stuff that happens.
yeah, I hope. And then there's so I played RoboCop Rogue City, which
Oh,
by
how
the
is that?
way,
That's a new game, no?
yeah, it's a relatively new game. I
Yeah.
think it's by an independent developer,
Yeah, yeah.
which is there are issues with the game, but not
Mm.
enough for like unlike Atomic Heart, which you're like halfway through and you're like, F this, I don't want to play this. Um, RoboCop, you're honestly playing in a RoboCop movie as RoboCop. They got the original guy to voice RoboCop.
No way.
Yep.
That's
So he
incredible.
looks like the original RoboCop. It's not the futuristic one from the reboot. You're and the way they
Interesting.
made him.
It's a
So the
side
way they
scroller,
made
right?
no, it's a first-person shooter.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a different game then. I'm sorry.
Um, and the way the way that he moves, he's like you're a big hunk of metal. So you move in the same way that he would be moving if you would be
Right.
walking, right? The attention to
That's how
detail.
it
There
was in the
are
first movies. Yeah.
Yeah, there are issues with the game itself. Like there's a few
Mm,
things, but I'm not giving it too much poop because it isn't. I'm pretty sure it's an independent, yeah, or a double A. It's like it's not a triple A studio that did it.
no, no, no. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's an indie game.
and it's
Or
fantastic. But there's some amazing glitches in that game.
oh
It's
god.
fantastic. At one point, there's there's that one gang leader soot. You face him.
Mhm.
Anyways, so you're the way that so you're the whole point of and I guess it's a mini spoiler, but it's not really because it doesn't really do much. A point there's like a part of of a mission
Mm.
where you're supposed to bring up his blood pressure to a point where he cracks and then he
Who, the
surrenders and
guy?
yeah, the guy.
Oh my
So
god.
you take all his instruments and you smash it on his head,
Oh
or
my
you
goodness.
you, you destroy his instruments until his blood pressure his heart rate goes to a certain point, and then he cracks. And then at one point, I pulled by mistake. I pulled there's a a perk that you can have where you basically zoom in towards him and grab his throat and throw him, right?
Oh
So
my
it's like
god.
in one shot.
Yeah.
And but I did that, but either it bricked the game,
Oh
like
no.
it bricked like the character because he was invisible. He was still talking to me, but he was invisible,
No
and I was
way.
trying. Yeah. So then at one point, you're supposed to be carrying him. You're supposed to
Yeah.
see him, but you see that you're. But I didn't see
That's
anything.
hysterical.
And then you see him. You see him like you're supposed to put him down. So you go through the motions of putting him down, but there's no one there. And then the whole scene,
That's so
the
funny.
guy, there's they're having this whole conversation, and he's not there.
In the
It's hilarious.
cutscenes, you're
Yeah,
talking
it's in
to
a
nothing,
cutscene.
but he's
Yeah,
talking. You hear his voice.
yeah, he's like
That's
a ghost.
hysterical.
He's like,
That's hysterical.
and I looked it up, and apparently it is a glitch in the system,
Oh, it
a
is.
glitch
That's
in the game
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
you would
yeah.
have to restart the last checkpoint and do it again, and then it would, it's
Oh
just
my god,
yeah, it was hilarious.
that's funny. That's
Um,
actually really
so
funny.
so from a glitch perspective, that's probably the one that was the most thing. Uh,
That's a hell of a glitch, though.
well, it's almost as good as in Fallout New Vegas when I first played it on the 360. There's a
Oh
point
no.
where you go into a cave and you have to find something with Brahmin. There's like a problem with the Brahmin, and somebody shot them all. And anyways,
Mhm.
you have to figure out why the Brahmin died. And anyways, they're in a cave. And for some reason, you find this guy, and I shot him in the head. But the glitch is the head got stuck to my pistol. So
No,
even if I put it away and I took it back out, the
it's
head
still
would stay
there.
on it.
That's
The only
hysterical.
way you
I've
can
never
get rid
seen
of
that.
it is if you go to like a market and you sell
They
it and
saw
you
the
buy it
gun.
back. You sell the gun, you buy it back, then
He
the head
cleans it.
disappears.
They
But I
clean it
kept
off.
it. So the
Oh
whole
my god.
game, you're shooting the pistol through the head, so the blood goes splitting
Oh,
everywhere.
every time you shoot it. Oh
Yeah,
god, that is insane.
that was yeah. That's a
That's
Bethesda,
funny.
but that's one
Again,
of those
right, right, right,
Bethesda.
right, right. Oh my god. Yo, this was great. Listen, we got a few more questions. We're winding it down,
Yeah.
bro. That's actually hilarious. So so how are you known for, or you know, what are you specifically known for by your gaming buddies? Not just me, but pretty much everyone
Yeah.
else who's part of your your gaming community. What do they know you for? What do they know you as? What is it that
Um,
they would say about you in particular if you think it would ever come up?
from from a gaming perspective, probably that I'm knowledgeable about games, but I'm
Mm,
not. I go based on my experience. Like I don't BS. So like I'll talk about the Atari, I'll talk about the ColecoVision, but I'll play about the games. I'll comment about the games that I played. I'm not going to
mm,
comment about a game that I haven't played or based on what other people say the game is. Like
mhm.
for example, um, you know, I spoke about Starfield.
Yeah.
Is it everybody's cup of tea? Probably not. Is it
Mm,
a perfect game? Probably
no.
not. Is there fun
No.
to be had? Is there fun to be had? Yes, there is.
Mm,
But it depends on the expectation you went in. A
mhm.
lot of people went in with the wrong expectation.
Well, they went in with super high, and I
Yeah,
mean,
but
let's be fair here, though. Is that whose so whose fault is that? Because I mean, and we could go back to the whole City Skylines 2 thing, because I kind of set that expectation for myself super high and was super disappointed. But that was kind of my fault as well. But at the same time, they released all these dev videos and made it, they were hyping the game up so much that I got hyped for it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I was super excited. So, I mean, an expectation like that, especially so Starfield, I've been watching Starfield though cuz I really do like space action adventure games.
yeah,
And seeing that it had, an element of flight and all that stuff cuz I like space sims, I kept an eye on it. I've been keeping an eye on it since it was first. I think it was pre-pandemic that it
yeah.
was it was originally,
Announced, announced. Yeah,
and then it was like, oh, it's finally being released. Oh man, this is great. But as release time came though, as it was getting closer, I was hearing a lot of there were a lot of red flags which I was like, oh, okay, which kind of curbed my own personal enthusiasm. And I'll be honest, I usually don't let myself get hyped up. That's why I'm kind of disappointed in myself because that City Skylines 2 game, I let my hype level go way too high. And I was so disappointed. But
I
yeah.
try to not go into a game. Like, yeah, if there's hype, like I'll hear the hype, but I try not to go in. Like Starfield, I went in with expectations that it was a Bethesda game. So my
I've heard that
expectation
too. Yeah.
was so my expectation was it would be at a minimum
Mm.
a Fallout 3 or a Fallout, because
Mhm.
I knew that they were building something from scratch, right? The new creation engine was new.
Right.
They built stuff from the ground up. So I expected it to be like a Fallout 3 mixed in with a Fallout 4 type of experience, just on many
That's what it
planets.
looked like too.
And that's basically what it is. The problem is that once you continue, it kind of discourages you at some point because it becomes repetitive.
Mm.
Whereas it's kind of like the mold of like an Assassin's Creed, where like the first like 10 hours, 15 hours, you're like everything's new, and then at some point
Mhm.
you're like,
Mhm.
oh, unless it's a specific mission. But if it's one of those random side missions, a lot of them it's like, go fetch this and go over here and go
Right.
do that, or
That was
go on this planet and
consensus.
kill
Yeah.
this person,
Right.
right? And at one point it becomes repetitive.
Right.
I think
Mm.
that's what's killing the game.
Mhm.
It could reach. It'll probably get like more players if they release DLC for it. I'm assuming there's going to be DLC for it at
Yeah.
some point.
We'll see.
But also the yes, the gamer has expectations, the media has expectations, but people, I don't know what it is. It's they take like something and it's like put like to a power of 10,000. Like it's not.
Mhm.
There's no in between anymore. There's no nuance. It's
Mhm.
either you hate something or you love something, or you agree with this or you don't agree. Like there's no in between.
Right.
Like
Right.
the thing
But
that
that's like a general. I've noticed that just with a lot of things outside of gaming as well. I won't
well,
get
the
into it,
political spectrum,
but
but yeah, there's the
not
political
not
aspect of it.
just politics, like just things, just a lot of choices, like people getting mad, like what we were talking about before, people getting mad because they don't like the same they can't understand why you like something or can't
Yeah.
understand why you don't like something. And it's like, what's wrong with you? It's like, why are you getting mad at that? Like
Well,
you,
the best example I
it's
can
weird.
think
It's
of,
weird.
the best example I can think of now, or recently, is the whole Xbox thing. So I don't know if you heard, but like Xbox is releasing Starfield on PlayStation 5
Oh
and
yes, there's
and
rumors that
Hi-Fi, right?
oh, but that's a whole now there's rumors that some people think that Xbox is going to go away, that they're going out of the console
No,
wars,
they're
which
not.
nothing was said about that either,
But
right?
no, but then again, but if you think of that logic, think of Xbox logically, okay?
Well, they're
They're not st-
comparing it to Sega when Sega did that. Because when they did
so,
that, it was
but it's
they
but
but Sega lost. That's why they
no, but it's different.
right. It is.
There's the whole idea is Xbox is known for a console, right?
Mhm.
It's the Xbox, the original Xbox,
Mhm.
the 360, the Xbox One, and the Series
Mhm.
X now with and
Mhm.
there's probably going to be a mid generation refresh
Mhm.
in a year or two, and then after that, maybe there's going to be one more console.
Yeah, I don't think they're
But
leaving either.
if you're looking at the whole Xbox as a whole,
Mhm.
the strategy that it's going for,
Yeah.
they want you to play their games on as many systems as possible. And
Right. That's
I'm
their I get that.
on Chris and at Christmas, my wife actually got me uh, what's it called? I can't even remember the name of it. It's like a handheld that goes on your phone. Like it snaps on your phone. Like it's the X. It's not. It's the
You like that?
Backbone. It's
Oh,
called the
okay.
Backbone controller. So basically, it's
Oh,
like a
and you
hundred
use
bucks.
yes, I know what you're talking about.
And you put it on your phone, or you can
Yeah.
play it. You can hook it up to your plan. And then with Game Pass, if it's available on xCloud, you can play the game anywhere. So I've played Fallout 3 before going to bed on my phone. I've
Nice.
played Fallout New
That's
Vegas.
awesome.
I've played right, but that's what they're going for. They're losing money on their console.
Right. They will
Yeah,
always,
it's
but
not,
that's been a from what I understand, they've always lost money on the console
but
sales. All the
that's
money was in the exclusives and the
yeah.
actual games themselves.
PlayStation is the same way. They always
Right,
sell
right,
it as a
right,
loss. But
right.
the idea is that you sell it at a loss at the beginning, and as the generations go through, you make money off of it
You make money off. Right,
because the pieces, the parts are cheaper as the generation goes along,
right.
right? Which is fine. But people yelling up in arms like, "Oh, that's it. It's the end of Xbox. The
I know.
Xbox thing." No, no. Like
It's
they're
so weird.
literally
And
I
no
can
one said
play
it.
my Xbox games.
Mhm.
This is boggles my mind. I can play it on an iPad. I can play it on my phone. I can play it on PC. I can play it on my TV. The
Yeah,
Samsung. I think the Samsung and LG have the Xbox app built in it.
nice.
And the thing about XCloud, it's not as good as Stadia
Mm,
in terms of technology. It's great. Like don't get me wrong. I play it. There's very little noticeable lag. Like it's really good.
mhm,
But the technology technically is better was better with Stadia. It was a
mm.
better tweaked for different connection rates, right? Like bit rates and stuff.
What was built for
So
that? Right.
it was built for that. The
Yeah.
problem with Stadia is they had 10 games.
Right,
That
because
was it.
no one, it didn't take off. Nobody,
Nobody released anything. Nobody bought it. Like
right,
the idea,
because there was no
and
money. The money
exactly
was in
now
the sales of the game, not yeah.
now Xbox they've been touting Game Pass now for since 2018, so roughly
Yep.
5 6 years. Um, it's they're really trying to tweak out because technically it's still in beta, the xCloud, but it works very well. Yeah, there's people that have complained about some certain things. As far as I'm concerned, the games that I've played were fantastic.
Yeah.
They're gonna probably have an app for many different devices, and you'll be able to play. Like right now, the only thing that's not on X, so first party games are on xCloud, but let's say like RoboCop Rogue City, which is not a Microsoft owned game.
Mhm.
It's not at xCloud. But the advantage of Game Pass and xCloud is I can play Starfield on my Xbox One because you get the game and it's like, oh, you have an Xbox One, boom, xCloud. Assuming you have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription,
Mhm. Mhm.
but still. And
Does
with
it
all
even
of that,
does it work though? I mean, I've anyway.
it does. I've done it.
I'm I'm a little salty because I was upset I couldn't play it. Just
I've played
issues.
Starfield. I played Starfield on my Xbox One. I played
Nice.
what's another one that was a Series X exclusive
That's crazy.
that came out recently.
See, I
Oh,
think I've always thought that was the way to go. Give it give it more opportunity to be played, and people will play that game because they can play it on everywhere.
it's because people have been this whole idea of console wars, which I don't understand.
Mhm.
Like I maybe it's because I come from a generation
Yeah,
of
we're in the Nintendo versus
but
Sega generation.
but
Yeah,
exactly. But when I was a Genesis guy. That's what I got. I don't remember why I got a Genesis, but that's why I got a Genesis.
and we never
Oh,
chose it. Someone else chose it for us, and we just
and,
played it. And we're like, okay, that's what we have, so that's why we're using it.
but I was never like so. If you look online, like people that didn't like PlayStation 5 were super
Mhm,
salty
mhm.
that Starfield wasn't going on their console,
Right.
and then
There's
people are
yeah.
salty, and I'm like, but I don't like I don't like I'm. Don't get me wrong, The Last of Us, Uncharted, you
And
know,
that's but that's not new.
God
That's
of
been around
War.
for a while.
But I'm happy. Like it's great. They're probably great games. I know they're great games. Does it affect me?
Mhm.
No, because I'm not playing them. I don't care. I'll play whatever comes out on. There's enough games on Game Pass to keep you, and plus Game Pass has EA Play as well. So anything that comes out on EA Play. So I played the new Dead Space as well, the remake that they
But
did, which is
people,
fantastic.
people want the latest and greatest all the time, and I don't know. Sometimes people just want something to gripe over, and I mean, they want to play a game, they can't play it on their console. They're like, "Oh, why can't we play it?" Whatever. I can sort of
But
get that. I can
but
sort of get that.
the difference as well is back then you either had a Genesis or a Super Nintendo. Very few people
Right.
had both.
The rich people
Nowadays,
had both.
well, yeah, but I mean, the general public didn't have both. You
No.
basically your parents got one or the other, and that
Right.
was it.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of people in the gaming community, I'm not taking the fringe cases, but most of the people in the gaming community have a Switch, an Xbox, and a PlayStation,
Yes. Yes. I was literally about to say that. It's not the
or
same.
they, or they have a Switch and a PlayStation and have
Mhm.
Ultimate, and they play the Game Pass on their PC.
It's either Switch and PlayStation, Switch and Xbox, or all three. I've
Yeah,
I've noticed because the gamers now who are the kids now have jobs, and we can buy games now. We can buy the systems we want. You know what I mean? And well, here let's wrap this up. Let me ask this
yes,
this
sir.
last question. No, this is good. This has been good. This has been good. Have you had any actual gaming goals in the last year, 2023 particularly?
Having kids, it was actually to play games. Um,
Nice.
that was the
Hey,
goal.
that's a
Um,
goal.
no, there's a few things I wanted to do. Mostly,
Because that's
it comes
hard.
down. It came down to pretty much it would be coming down to streaming. I
Mhm.
do want to stream again. It's been difficult because yeah, I have kids now,
Right,
but
right.
I've also been doing a certification for stuff. So
Okay.
that's taking my time at night. So
Mm.
like I kind of like
Adulting.
I
Damn it.
yeah, exactly. So I play like maybe Friday night from 9 to 11,
Mm,
type of thing.
mhm, mhm.
But the idea is that I want to get back into streaming more often.
Yeah.
And the goal is to stream and to be fair, the whole idea that it wasn't to get. It's hard to get views now. It is much
Mhm,
harder to get
mhm.
views than it used to be because it's so saturated.
Right.
But the whole goal that I decided to stream was to push myself to finish games.
Mm.
There's a ton of games that I finished on stream that I never finished when I was playing on my own, either because I was like, I don't feel like playing this now, or
You finished Deus Ex on stream. That's
Deus
wow.
Ex. Deus Ex. Well, so Deus Ex, the
The first
series,
one.
I streamed.
Yes.
Um, I finished. You were on this stream as well. I finished
Mhm.
Pitfall 2, The Lost Caverns.
Yeah.
That one I had never finished, and I finished on stream. The Witcher 3, I had started it. I
Mm.
started it 3 times, never finished it. I only finished it when I streamed. It forces me to, because my point is, if somebody is actually legitimately following me, um,
Mm.
and I always found like I wasn't the most exciting host in the world either. Um, because I sometimes talk and I pause the game because I talk for like 10. Like I think I did it with Avante. Um,
I
uh,
mean, I felt bad because I felt like I was distracting you because we would get into conversations. You would stop and we're just talking.
no,
You're
but
like,
that's the whole point.
that's
Like
so
it,
funny.
like I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna be. Because the thing is, let's be honest, it's fucking hard to find something to talk about for 2 3 hours when you're streaming.
Mm.
Like, yeah, you can figure out you can have something to talk about for the first hour, but unless somebody
Right.
is engaging, it's
Right.
it's pretty difficult. So like
It is.
so
It is.
if somebody asks me a question, I'll answer.
Mm.
Like I remember at one point I got rated during one of my retro streams,
Nice.
and there's a bunch of guys from like a bunch of people from Europe that ended up
Mm.
on my stream, and they were asking a bunch of questions, and
Mm.
I streamed for 3 hours, and I had a blast.
Mhm.
Like I was just answering a bunch of questions about like what types of games I like,
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
think
yeah.
about X, what I think about Y, and even if it's not about gaming, even if it's like I know it's a taboo subject, but even if you want to talk about politics, fine.
Mm.
A couple of times I did talk about Canadian politics, like how Canadian politics works and stuff like that, and
Mm.
what the pitfalls we have here in Canada. Because let's be honest, the majority of the news stream focuses on American politics,
Even over
even the
there?
Canadian. Yeah,
Yeah?
it's basically it's
Our clown
If you
show
look at
is that entertaining, huh?
it's,
Isn't it?
you know
Because
what?
it's crazy.
And this has been a thing for years. Canada is usually 10 years behind the States in a lot
Really?
of stuff,
Yeah.
either in technology for, you know, policemen,
Mm,
or, you know, like cop cars and how they're equipped with computers and all that stuff like
really?
that. Like
Hmm.
we're always like about 10 years behind what the States are. So if what's happening now in the States, we'll usually see it,
Mm.
and you're starting to see it in Canada as well now. So like from a political perspective, we're interested. Yeah, it's a circus, but at the same time, we're kind of seeing like this is what's it's going, and oh boy, this is
Oh, so
not fun.
it's almost like seeing where you're going to end up heading, basically,
It
right?
it
That's
basically
wild.
it's pretty much, because the thing is, if you look at the coverage,
Mm,
it's the same issue here as in the States. Like if you look at the coverage,
mm,
the TV's stations are owned
mm,
by
mm.
two different companies,
The
and
same
then
two
you have and,
companies.
and then
Yeah.
you and then you have the Canadian CBC, which is like the government, right?
Mm.
It's the public TV channel. Um, uh, and
Interesting.
so
That's interesting.
if you see somebody like the equivalent of like here, CTV is like the equivalent of like ABC, NBC, and whatever. So if
Uh,
somebody sees something there, they're like, oh, they're lying because they're paid by whatever. But if you have the public, oh well, they're paid by the government to say whatever they want. Okay, but then so nobody believes anything.
yeah. Oh man, that must be so frustrating. Here,
So
let's wait,
yeah,
wait.
so
This
so that's the that's the way
let
it works. So we always see what's happening, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So wow, this was an amazing podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed this discussion. I always enjoyed these discussions with you.
yeah,
Going
so it's fun.
forward, do you have you're trying to see if you can squeeze in a stream for
Yeah.
2024, right? A streaming schedule. It is hard though. You have the family. I mean, but I'm glad to see that you're still trying to game though. That I like
the
seeing
the
that because that's
the
a
one
hobby.
thing though, you can't look at it from trying to make money or
Mm,
trying like
mm,
even growing your, because I've been out for like I not my numbers of followers have gone down obviously
mm,
because I've been streaming so forever.
mm.
um but to actually find new followers,
Yeah.
like I actually found like from, so I had roughly 300 followers on my channel.
Okay.
Out of the 300, there's maybe 20 people that used to come back on my stream. But out of the 20 that used to come back regularly on my streams, 10 of them stopped streaming and never came back to Twitch, or they
Wow.
seldom come back to Twitch.
They just gone.
So like there was Switchy that
Mm,
that stopped streaming, and he didn't go on. He goes on Twitch ever so often, but he doesn't go that often.
right.
Avante, there was you.
Yeah.
There's reasons why everything like happened. There's reasons, but
Right.
still.
Right.
So it's not as if like I had 300 and then I lost 20. It's like, okay, I don't really
Mm,
notice it, but having 10. So I went from on average 10 to 15 viewers to
mm,
roughly maybe 3 or 4. And some nights I had one.
mm.
Like basically I was watching myself because I had
I've
the stream going to
I've
check.
had plenty of those. I know how that goes.
So it's kind of like, so it's kind of, there's, and YouTube too, it's kind of like it's hard to discover because again there's so many channels.
Yeah.
um
YouTube is
and
really hard. YouTube is because YouTube now has everything,
the problem is
literally
is
everything.
I don't have the time to separate myself, to make myself different. Like I would need to sit down and have a
Mm.
strategy to have
And like,
something that would
right, right, right.
differentiate my channel from other streaming channels, because I don't. I'm just a
Gotcha.
streaming channel. And
Right.
like people are like, "Oh, people stream and they're hoping for it." No, I'm not hoping for anything. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I know I don't have the time. Like
Yeah.
even before, my time was limited
Right.
in terms of I tried to do too much.
Mm.
I did the streams, I did the podcasts, I did like a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different
Mm-hmm.
things. I didn't market it very well.
Mm.
Twitter is garbage because nobody clicks on links on
Mm.
Twitter. Like they
Yeah, because
see the tweet,
they
they
don't
see
know.
the tweet. There's a ton of people that see the tweet,
Right.
but if you look at the clicks, it's like one out of like,
Right.
1,000. Well, okay, well then that's not a really good.
Mm.
Facebook was garbage for promoting. You would have like 20
That's
people
weird.
because they don't promote, the algorithm doesn't promote it, so that's fine. Like the thing is it would be one thing if 300 people click on it and they say you
Mhm.
suck. Okay, fine. I'll take that in consideration. But
They just don't interact.
they just don't. They're not. They nobody's visible. So unless it's somebody that used to know me,
Mhm.
that used to see me stream and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
do have a few. Like there's people that would follow me, or the thing they used to hate is because I'm a variety streamer, right?
Right.
So the problem with variety streamers, we stream obviously as it
Guns, gore, and
mentions it.
cannoli, right?
Yeah, exactly. You stream different types of games at any given time. Now I do story-driven games, but there's a lot of people that follow you for one game and then they unfollow you after the game.
Right.
How many
Is it?
times has that happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
like, oh,
mean,
you're not playing Deus
no.
Ex anymore. Well, no, I finished the game.
Right.
Like
It's done.
maybe I'll stream it again next year, maybe.
Right.
But
But it's
I just finished the series. I'm not gonna play it again.
yeah. It's
Oh well, I'm gonna
well.
unfollow you.
I'm
Okay, well
I'm
then unfollow me.
I'm guilty. I don't unfollow. I just watch if it's something I'm interested in. The thing is, there's so many people to watch now. But here, let's wrap this up. Let me just wrap up this session real quick.
Yep,
Corporate gamer again, the people's champ. Well, thank you for coming back. An amazing episode.
my
These
pleasure.
discussions are so good, and there is going to be a bonus bit because we're probably just going to hash it out and get a little uncensored action in the next in the next few minutes. So yeah, thank you. So for everyone who joined in, thank you for letting us grace your space this day. Just keep an eye out on the channel. There's going to be more content soon, and remember, you are awesome. Jesus loves you, and ganadora.